everyone, and welcome back to another Sims video. And it's the beginning of the month, so you know what that means. It is time for our monthly check-in on my, off-camera household, basically. Okay. So last on the Altman Legacy, we had our third kid in this family, Estrella, alone. But it's okay because everyone's back together now. The first thing we had to do was age up Willow into a child, and also Darian into an adult. Yeah, I don't know if there was an update to the Sims and their ages, but the ages seem a bit off now. I'm not sure. But it made a huge age gap between Liz and Darian. Even though it was Darian that aged up, it was Liz who went through the midlife crisis. Just kidding, she just decided to change up her look a little bit. Or a lot of it. Still being the adventurous Sim she is, chopped off most of her hair and dyed some of it pink. With our family ever expanding, in ways I wasn't expecting because the game told me I wasn't going to, and then it did anyway. I'm not salty, I promise. We got a house upgrade, still on the industrial side, but more rooms to the house for the big family that Liz and Darian always dreamed of. And although Ariel didn't really care too much for her little sister when she was brought home, they started growing closer and closer, so even though the original plan for this new house was to give them their own rooms, I couldn't bear to separate them, so I didn't. And the next thing we know, Estrella aged up into a toddler, and then Ariel into a teenager. Although a quiet soul, she is a soul that dreams big and wants the best. So she dreams of fame and riches. So of course she had to have the best fashion, even as a teen. Even though I've said numerous times that this game hates me, it tells me my sim is infertile, so I come up with this whole storyline and it betrays me. Liz wanted to try for another baby, and so did Darian. So I indulged in their wants, and of course she's pregnant. Why wouldn't she be? Not like she has the trait that says she wouldn't be. Oh. Although I complain, you can never take things for granted. Even though she was still able to get pregnant against all odds, it never was going to be easy. Early on in her pregnancy, Liz suffered from some issues, but with modern medicine, the doctors were able to save the baby and her. But I think this is a sign that although she seems to be able to have babies, it's not the best for her health, so Darian makes the decision to get snipped for his safety and of his family. Up next, little Estrella ages up into a toddler, and we find out that they're having another girl. The DNA is stubborn and strong here, and they chose to name her Daniela. The family celebrates Winterfest together, and then early in the morning, Liz finds herself in labor with their final child. And what seems like an accidental family tradition, because this is the final child, with supervision, Darian gets to deliver this baby. Apparently I didn't think it was a big enough deal to photograph, but Liz was required to move to Mount Kobarebi for work, and they sat down as a family and thought it would be a fun learning opportunity to all go together. And of course, they couldn't stand the idea of living life without their mother, so they all moved together. Right as we moved in, it was time for another birthday. Willow was ready to age up into a teen, and with the move, decided to delve into her own heritage with her new look. Grateful for those that raised her, of course, but still interested in finding out where she came from. We had another birthday, the baby's birthday. Daniela aged up into a charming toddler. And like I said, I think the aging broke a bit because now Liz aged up into adulthood. Yikes. And ooh baby, does the sim love chucking birthdays on top of birthdays, because just like that. And now it was time for Estrella to age up into a teen. And already, Daniela was aging up into a child as well. Hear me out. I know I have custom age spans, but these seem crazy. Now, with everyone getting older, Darian always dreamed of a family vacation to Sulani, and if you remember, there's some good news here. Liz has family in Sulani, and we were able to hook us up for a couple days where we celebrated the birthday of Ariel into a young adult. Apparently, while in high school, Ariel was secretly chatting with this boy from Del Sol Valley. She, of course, was doing this to get insight of her future and ended up falling for him. So after the family vacation ended, Ariel moved out of our home and in with Zachary into his mansion. Dang, Ariel really knows how to get what she wants, huh? A fine man with her dream house, you love to see it, and they really see eye to eye on pretty much everything. They find each other very attractive, and both don't want kids. Good for them. As soon as we came back to our main household, it was time for Willow to also age up into a young adult. And it seems as directly after she got herself a boyfriend that immediately turned into a fiancé. And some people weren't too happy about it. I mean, it was her sister, but Estrella couldn't help but feel jealous as she really didn't have anyone for herself. And it seems like our wedding calendars are going to be packed because soon after, it looks like Ariel and Zachary were also getting engaged. Next thing we know, Daniela aged up into a teen, and oh my god. This is when I decided which heir we were going to play with because look at her. That, and I always tend to pick the youngest heir, but this is just icing on the cake. Willow always wanted her own family. As much as she loved being a Castillo, she always wanted a family biologically all her own. So her and Jesse couldn't wait. And oh boy, what a doozy. She ended up being pregnant with twins. I was gobsmacked. Near the end of her pregnancy, Willow and Jesse got married in the backyard of the family home in Mount Cabarrubby. And just like those Instagram couples do, they named their kids after themselves. Twins, a boy and a girl, named William and Jessica. How original. I mean, it's kind of cute. And aging up Sims is fun until it's not. Darian aged up into an elder, and oh boy was I sad. I love this man. With more time on their hands as they get older and work less and less hours, Darian and Liz offered to let Willow and Jesse live with them, and they'll watch the kids during the day while they get their careers up and running. Up next, Estrella aged up into a young adult. And although she loves her family, the jealousy and the babies was far too much for her to handle and promptly moved out on her own. And lovebirds do as lovebirds do. Both Willow and Jesse got the wants to try for another baby, so they did. But because the household was almost full, we knew it was only going to be one. Thank God. Or will it? Because after the twins were aged up into toddlers, Willow and Jesse decided it was time to move out on their own. But one last send-off to our firstborn, who in the background was planning her own wedding at her and Zachary's estate. With the house becoming more and more empty, Daniela decided to take advantage of the quiet and take up yoga and meditation. But back to the Corey family, a final send-off here too. They had their next baby, a girl who they named Esme, a name to honor both Willow's newly studied culture and to the mother who took her in when no one else would. And finally, back to our main story, Daniela, the fluid, ever-changing carefree soul that found love with one Elise Pancakes, whose parents were sadly no longer with us. And knowing how open and caring her parents are, brought up the idea of having them bring Elise in and take care of her until they're both young adults. Of course, there was no ulterior motive. Right, Daniela? Because soon after she moved in, they had their first kiss and became each other's first partner. Outside of the story, for a quick little intermission, can I say this is one of the darkest yet funniest things that has ever happened to me in The Sims. My elder Sim, who literally has a fear of death, was given a gravestone for Winterfest. You really can't make this up. I believe I was eating dinner when this happened and I almost spit out my drink. Okay, back to your regularly more wholesome-ish content. Just kidding, you ready for the gut punch of the century? You remember Liz's siblings? The three of them? All of them died within minutes. Not just IRL minutes, in-game minutes. Like, look at the clock in these screenshots, I swear. This game really loves to just mess with you. Let's hope that's all that goes wrong, right? Soon it was time for Daniela and Elise to age up and move out, so they do, and soon thereafter they get the ick. Maybe it was moving too fast, or maybe them being on their own for the first time, but they both ended up finding each other repulsive. So they figured it was the best and ended things there, and Elise moved out. And this, although for the best, caused Daniela to fall into a tailspin. Hookup after hookup, trying to find just something, to feel anything. She wound up pregnant. She nor the father wanted to keep this baby, but Daniela knew someone who did. So she decided to go through with the pregnancy. However, she didn't let this pregnancy stop her tailspin of prowess, until she got with someone who made her heart skip a beat and change her ways. Guillermo. Gio. Gio was the first person who actually, talk to her and make her feel seen, helped her work through her issues and feelings, then slowly throughout her pregnancy began to fall in love. Something Danny was really scared of because she never thought she would get that again. Finally, a partner that wanted her for her and not just her body. Gio was actually over to ask her to be best friends when she went into labor. However, some bad news, while in labor, we got the call everyone dreads to hear. Her father, Darian, had passed away. Even though her world was falling apart, she couldn't stop the inevitable and gave birth to a baby boy. The name didn't matter as he was no longer hers, but Elise's. Danny knew how badly Elise wanted to be a mother, and her being a lesbian would mean paying throughout the nose for a surrogacy or IVF treatments, so she, of course with permission, handed him over. Even though she didn't want this baby, the pregnancy was actually kind of fun. Being one with her body and creating life, helping others who can't. This changed Danny, and she decided she wanted to become a surrogate. After that, we asked Gio to move in, because that's just the next step, right? What she's expected to do, because we can't show the world that we're crumbling on the inside, right? We gave him a makeover, and god dang is he fine. The two began to live life together in their new home. A bigger home with a whole wing dedicated to Danny's surrogacy career. Danny decided to share her love of wellness with Gio, and their friendship began to grow. But something on the inside was still breaking. Something still wasn't right. Right? Well, that was a doozy of a story, wasn't it? I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed playing it and making it, because I tend to fall in like the same vanilla meet in high school, or like meet as immediate young adult, fall in love, marry, have 3.5 children, and leave it at that. So I really was trying to push myself to do a more chaotic storyline. And as you can see, I think it's going, I'm following that pretty well. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye!